There was a moment he described very quietly, almost like he was ashamed of it. He said, "I didn't lose everything at once, I just stopped trusting myself." He wasn't talking about a big failure. There was no dramatic collapse, no public embarrassment. On the outside, his life still looked fine. Job intact, family okay, health decent. But inside, something had shifted. Decisions that once felt natural now felt heavy. Simple choices became exhausting. Every option felt wrong or risky or stupid. He used to decide quickly. He remembered that clearly. In college, he picked his major without fear. In his early career, he took chances. He trusted his instincts. But somewhere along the way, after a few wrong calls, a few missed opportunities, and a few people questioning his choices, that inner confidence started to crack. At first, it was subtle. He began asking others for advice more often. That seemed responsible, even mature. Then he started waiting for approval before acting. Then he started avoiding decisions altogether. Eventually, he noticed something painful. Even when he knew what he wanted, he didn't believe himself enough to follow through. He said, "It feels like my own mind is no longer on my side." When we explored his backstory, a pattern became clear. Every time he made a decision that didn't work out perfectly, he punished himself mentally. He replayed it. He magnified it. He told himself stories like, "See, you can't trust your judgment," or "You always mess things up." Over time, those stories became louder than his intuition. What made it worse was comparison. Watching others succeed faster. Seeing peers make bold moves and get rewarded. He began assuming that everyone else had clarity, confidence, and courage, and that he was the only one guessing. But the truth was more human than that. He didn't stop trusting himself because he was incapable. He stopped trusting himself because he became afraid of pain, of regret, of being wrong again. Doubt felt safer than disappointment. When you don't trust yourself, you don't fully live. You delay, you overthink, you look for signs everywhere, you scroll, you research, you ask, you wait, hoping certainty will arrive before action. But certainty rarely comes first. Confidence is usually built after movement, not before it. At his lowest point, he described waking up with a tight chest. Not anxiety in the dramatic sense, but a dull pressure, a feeling of being disconnected from his own life. "I feel like a passenger," he said, "like I'm watching someone else make decisions for me." That's when we slowed everything down. I told him something simple. You don't rebuild self-trust by making perfect decisions. You rebuild it by keeping small promises to yourself. Self-trust is not about never failing. It's about knowing that even if things go wrong, you won't abandon yourself. We started small, painfully small. Decisions that didn't carry huge consequences. What to eat, when to rest, when to say no. He practiced choosing without polling the world. And more importantly, he practiced standing by his choice without immediately criticizing himself. At first it felt uncomfortable, almost irresponsible. His mind kept saying, "But what if you're wrong?" And each time he learned to respond gently. "Maybe, but I'm allowed to choose." That shift mattered, because self-trust doesn't return through motivation. It returns through repetition, through evidence, through showing yourself again and again that you can decide and survive the outcome. We also talked about forgiving past versions of himself, the ones who made decisions with limited information, the ones who tried and failed, the ones who did their best with what they knew at the time. Blaming them only deepened the fracture. One day, he said something that marked a turning point. He said, "I'm starting to hear my own voice again." It wasn't loud. It wasn't confident yet. But it was there. He noticed he didn't need to explain himself as much. He stopped justifying every choice. He accepted that not everyone would agree, and that agreement was not the same as validation. Slowly, his posture changed, not physically, but internally. He felt more grounded, less scattered, more present. And here's what mattered most. Nothing miraculous happened externally. His life didn't transform overnight, but his relationship with himself did. And that changed everything. Because when you trust yourself, you move differently. You take responsibility without shame. You accept outcomes without collapsing. You stop waiting for permission to live your own life. The lesson wasn't always trust your gut. That's too simplistic. The real lesson was deeper. Treat yourself like someone worth listening to. You don't lose self-trust in one moment, and you don't regain it in one moment either. It's rebuilt choice by choice, breath by breath, with patience. And if you are in that place right now, second-guessing everything, doubting even your smallest instincts, understand this. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not broken. You are just disconnected from a part of yourself that learned to stay quiet to avoid getting hurt. That part doesn't need pressure. It needs safety. Start there. Choose one small thing today. Stand by it. And when doubt shows up, don't attack yourself. Stay. That's how trust returns. Quietly, steadily, from the inside out.